Do you remember the Nic Cage movie, Willy's Wonderland?
Have you been listening to a word I've been saying?
That for me was a 10 times better movie than the Friday Nights at Freddy's movie that has just come out at local cinemas, or if you're in the US it'll be in local cinemas and a local streaming platform. So let me know in the comments below, will you venture out to watch this? Are you a big fan? Who's your favorite character? Even though I've said that it's not the greatest film for me, there were moments that I enjoyed for it, so I'm excited to kind of talk about it, talk about the ending as well. There's two kind of scenes I want to talk about at the ending, but I'll do a spoiler nod and let you know when we're going to be jumping into spoiler territory. So let's jump in. Troubled security guard begins working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. During his first night on the job, he realizes that the night shift won't be so easy to get through. Pretty soon, he will unveil what actually happened at Freddy's. So there's a number of demographics that this film is catered for. One is obviously the people that love the games. They're going to come and watch this film, probably expecting kind of a low bar, but maybe just hoping that there's enough Easter eggs in there to make them smile with glee and go, wait, I know that thing, I know that bit, oh, I see that reference. That's kind of one demographic. Then there's the Josh Hutcherson fan base that is alive and well. I love some of his films, but he has a great fan base. We also have other good actors in this. We have Elizabeth Lale, who plays Vanessa, and Josh Hutcherson's character Mike has a sister named Abby. And not to mention Matthew Lillard, who plays Steve Raglan. So the first big misstep for me in this movie, at least in the UK, is the age restriction. Because here in the UK it's a 15, in the US it's a PG-13. So with parental guidance you can go with your son or daughter or an adult and go and watch this if you're a fan of the games. Here you have to be 15. There is a big gap, those 2 years, the transitioning of teens, what it means at a 15-year-old to what it means to be a 13-year-old is a big thing. And so seeing the age restriction and who the demographic, you would think that they've missed the mark. But I tried to go to early screenings on Tuesday that we had here in the UK, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, and they were all booked out, like fully booked out. We had 3 or 4 screenings and I was like, okay, so there's a lot of fan base for this, not just 15-year-olds but people that want to go and see it. They love a Blumhouse movie. I remember when Blumhouse first came on the scene and everything they were kicking out was amazing, but then since subsequent years there's not been as many good ones that are attached to their name. Originally when they announced it, I know everybody was very excited about it. Josh Hutcherson as the security guard guy, some things happened in his past to make him have to deal with anger in his life, which is hard for him to keep a job, so he ends up being a security guard at night. He's also looking after his sister as the surrogate mother and father. There's this psychological story that plays quite well in this, and there's some psychological shots that I think are probably some of the best parts of this movie. So that's one half of the movie, and then the other half is obviously going to be within the Friday Nights at Freddy's franchise, and those that know the characters will know like what they look like and who they, if you're coming this to afresh and you're like, what in earth is this Friday Nights at Freddy's? So the Friday Nights at Freddy's game is similar. It's set in a family pizzeria. The player takes on the role of Mike Schmidt, a night security guard. Schmidt must complete his shifts without being confronted by the homicidal animatronic characters that wander the restaurant at night. And one of the big things about the game is the jump scares that you get in there. I remember watching some of the streams of Friday Nights at Freddy's, some of my favorite streamers, and the jump scares when they're playing it the first time are the things that worked for me for the game. Here, however, I think there was one that worked for me near the beginning and then it just kind of teetered out. There was no real scary moments. It certainly doesn't fit the 15 age restriction here. It would have been great if the film itself had managed to take hold of the kind of B horror that Willy's Wonderland did and embrace some of that gore fest that you can get with these types. But because they're trying to cater to a younger demographic, they have to strip it back. And so there in the US, it's PG-13, which means you're going to get a much dumbed down, at least in the horror, physical horror, you know, dismemberance of arms and gore and guts and all that kind of thing.
Not trapped in here with them. They're trapped in here with him.
That's not to say you can't have a good horror without gore, but it depends on the horror. For this, which is a physical killers and robotic animatronic, you kind of need to have that physical theater moments to it. If there's no payoff, then there's really no payoff to be watching what happens, and you can't just like restart because it's not just a game, another checkpoint and go through the thing again. A film has different needs to the game. It's much more consolidated, but it also like I said, it doesn't get to restart at those checkpoints. The audience doesn't get to restart, so you have to show them what would happen, but still have them keep watching the story and make it entertaining. Now, Josh Hutcherson as this character, this security guard, is believable. Invested somewhat in his character, I think. You invested in him being a good surrogate family member to his sister as a mother and father, and you want them to stay together. There is another family member that you don't want the daughter to be with, and so you are kind of rooting for them that way. Because you have something to root for, it kind of ticks the movie keeping on going, so you want to see where it goes in the end. But for the most part, there wasn't nothing for me that I wanted to go, yeah, this is something that I'm really enjoying. The best thing about this movie is watching it with a crowd full of lovers of the games, because the atmosphere definitely hypes it up so much more. I think if you're watching this at home, you're not going to get that sense of why people love this. You're going to get those squeals and the moments of gasping or glee, or someone will actually say something audible when they see a certain character, especially the younger generation. That is cool. The enjoyment that others get, the zeitgeist of ambience that you experience together in those moments, that's kind of what makes cinema great. If you're a fan of it and you watch it with friends, I think you'll find that you enjoy this more than others do. However, as a one-time watch in the horror genre, this is a very forgettable film, and one that I wouldn't want to buy or own or even rent. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people will be duped into thinking that this will be scary. It isn't. Even the younger ones, I would say you could stick them in front of Arachnophobia, which is a PG, and that is way scarier and older. There are many films that seem to have found the tenseness of a film, how to shoot it without doing jump scares and still make it scary without losing its authenticity to the original works that it's based off of. It's a bit of a disappointment to me, because there were some moments I enjoyed. The animatronics, some of the lighting, the special effects, the physical nature of the actual horrors, the alluding to some of the horrors that was going to go on. Josh Hutcherson, the characters portraying at best with the dialogue they've been given. So I'm going to give it 2.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
And you got one. Congratulations.
It's sort of down the line in the middle. I liked Willy's Wonderland better. I'm going to be talking about the middle credit scene and the audio credit scene, so this is your time to jump off. So the middle credit scene is not really alluding to a sequel. It's literally just the gag that they were playing in the beginning of the movie. The Josh Hutcherson character opens that. That's our main jump scare with that little character that we now see again as if it's alive on the seat of the taxi driver. So it doesn't allude to anything else. It's just kind of a fun gag. And then we hop over to the audio that we hear spelling out letters. Now, if you're in the cinema, you're probably going to have found it quite difficult to listen to. I know a number of people have said in the comments that they couldn't hear what I was saying because so many people were getting up, ruffling their bags, trying to listen to what the letters spelled out. And then those that did were wondering what it means. Now, if you were listening very carefully, you would have heard the letters and know that it kind of spells out "come find me." I think that's what it means. And "come find me" can either allude to one of the characters in the third game, I believe, or the fact that the brother here isn't actually dead, and that if we had a sequel, that we could get Josh Hutcherson going to look for his brother. Those are the two theories. Let me know your theories down below. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel if they embrace the gore. It actually gets much scarier, and maybe some fans will watch it beforehand and kind of let them know if they need to change anything. That would be great. But for now, this is a film that I won't be going back to. So let me know your thoughts and feelings on this. I might play the game rather. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long on Tuesday.